Summer started, and you're a student that finally has some free time on his hands. Great! You're also a productive citizen. In the next 3 months, you decided that it's time to prove your parents wrong. It's time that you start making money so they allow you to drop out of school. I mean, look at Elon Musk. The reason he's successful is clearly because he dropped out of university. And you should too. So the first path to success that you thought of is making games. Your parents said they're the reason why you're failing school. All the hours you spent playing Minecraft daily. But because of that, you understood that making games is the true way to make money, controlling every human's mind of the way and dominating the way. Here's how your story will go. In the art of game making, there are 3 main factions fighting for success. First, you got the rich kids. This is the type of place you'd go to if your PC can run Cyberpunk on 4K resolution, and you want to make games that also look like Cyberpunk on 4K resolution. Unreal Engine offers one special ability, blueprints, but we're going to talk about that later. The other thing Unreal Engine offers is pretty advanced graphics. So if you have a team of like 50 people backing you up to deal with those graphics, or if you want to use the blueprints feature, then yeah, Unreal is for you. Otherwise, you could go with the mobile developers. Unity was the meta. It was the go-to if you wanted to focus on gameplay rather than graphics. It is also easy to use. And even if you don't want to use it, you could just steal other people's work through the asset store. Now, I say it was the meta because recently Unity made a new rule. That rule says that if your games get popular enough, you'd have to start paying taxes on it, more than you'd get taxed for a lakeside view house in America. But hey, at least you don't have to download 50 whole gigabytes to use it. The point where you'd start getting taxed is pretty far, so you'd probably never reach it. But if you're still worried about that, there's still a third faction. Those are the immigrants. They're all people who decided to flee Unity in order to escape taxes. Some didn't make it though, since they're already at the point to get taxed. Next up, we got classes. The first one is the scripters. Now most of you are probably scripters because you thought it's the hardest part about game making, and every other thing is easy and you don't need to learn it. Well, you're very wrong. Scripters got 3 subclasses. First one is the classic. You spend 20% of your time making things and 70% of your time fixing those things. The last part is finding the line at which your scripts broke because you got a little too many lines to browse through. Now you could have just wanted to learn scripting to sound smart to your friends. So instead of learning how to script, you just learned the name of every programming language. The second subclass is exclusive. The second subclass is exclusive to Unreal Engine. It's being blueprints. You'd use them if you looked at normal scripting and thought this was way too hard. Now, I don't think normal scripting is harder unless your brain gets evaluated by horsepower instead of IQ. The bad thing about blueprints is that when your scripts get very advanced, they'll very likely start looking like a map to conquer Germany. But if you can navigate your way through the terrain, you should be fine. Last subclass is ChatGPT users. Now if you use this, you'd think you'd get jumped by all the actual scripters that spent 3 years learning how to print hello world. But then you realize you can't make anything advanced with ChatGPT, because it too spent 3 years learning how to print hello world. So you're gonna actually have to learn scripting whether you like it or not. Next class up is the modelers. They're the guys that make weapons, cars, maps, characters. Yeah, they pretty much make most of the game. Modeling is a 50% fun, 50% suffering job. The fun part is, well, modeling. The not very fun part is when you have to make textures for your models or place said models to make the actual map. When that part comes up, you might start crying and you wonder what wrong choices in life that got you here. I mean, it isn't your job to make the textures, it's supposed to be the graphic designer's job. Speaking of graphic designers, they are slowly going extinct right now because of the AI apocalypse, so have fun making those textures. Next class is the sound designers. Sound is probably the most important part of your game. It's such a deep and complex subject to learn. Every action has to have a sound that represents us in a satisfying way. There's also the music of the place you're in, and boss themes. Just the right sounds in a game can make it fun to play. Sound designers are probably going to be the last people to get replaced by AI. I mean, come on, sound isn't as simple as placing a few pixels correctly on the screen or writing a few lines of magic spells, right? Right?
You can't keep getting away with it! You can't keep getting away with it!
Action beats up people for money. Adventure beats up people for money in their natural habitat. FPS shoots people for money. Horror gets beaten up not for money but for entertainment. Racing, be faster than other people for money and spend that money on customizing your car for 2 hours straight so you can buy a new car after 3 more races. Survival beats up animals for food. And people. RPG try to beat up people for money, but then you end up losing real money to gamble on better ways to beat up people for money.